So you've been thinking about moving away from music streaming services. Maybe you've come to realize the negative impact of cheap access to art, or maybe you just have realized the value in owning the music you love. Whatever your reason, the idea of ditching music streaming services in 2025 can seem overwhelming and daunting and probably not make a whole lot of sense. But if it's something that you're interested in, I've got 6 ideas here in this video that might help you along the way in that path. And if you stick around to the end, there's a bonus idea that kind of ties them all together. Music was everything to me growing up, but somehow life got in the way, and for 15 years I barely listened to anything new. Now I'm 40 and I'm diving back in, one song, one album at a time, and sharing that journey with you. Welcome to Hendy Creek. I think the biggest regret of my musical life is that I got rid of all of my CDs, like all of them, hundreds of them. I threw them all out or gave them away or donated them. But really it was just because after moving so many times, after moving boxes and boxes of CDs from one apartment to the next, one house to the next, and realizing that they only ever just sat in the basement, I figured I've got streaming services, I don't need these anymore, and I just got rid of them. But like I said in a recent video, I'm just not very excited about music streaming services anymore, and I'm ready to move back to owning my music. But the idea of rebuilding that collection is just so overwhelming and so daunting. But I've come up with a few things that have helped me, and that's what this video is, and that's what I want to share with you here. I've got 6 tips here that over the last 6 months or so have really helped me with rebuilding my music collection and making it not only less daunting, but actually kind of enjoyable. So let's dive in. The first big thing that I had to realize is that owning music now does not have to mean owning physical copies of it. I mean, yeah, I absolutely enjoy collecting CDs and vinyl to a lesser degree, but it can be really expensive, especially if you're buying online and you have to pay for shipping and all that. It can be prohibitive. So to that point, I think it's important to point out that a lot of artists offer their music for downloads. You can download the files of the albums from the artist that you want to collect. And unlike a streaming service, and even unlike when you used to buy and download songs on iTunes back in the day, you actually own the files and can do what you want with them. A lot of artists will sell their albums as digital downloads on their website, but for me, Bandcamp has been really the place to go. It has an absolutely enormous selection from the most obscure to super popular artists. You can buy CDs and vinyl and digital downloads or any combination thereof. The prices tend to be a little bit lower, and you have the bonus of directly supporting the artists you love. And again, you own what you buy. Buy the album, download the files, and you can use them however you want. Listen on your computer, load them on a DAP, burn a CD, whatever. For me, there are certain collections that I'm still looking to buy a physical copy of, but in terms of rebuilding my music library and do it for a relatively inexpensive price, digital downloads are the way to go. You might think that if you give up on music streaming services, you also have to give up on the convenience of listening to music on the go. Of course, it won't be as easily accessed on your phone when you're out of the house, so what are you gonna do? Go buy a new Discman or dig out your old iPod? No, you're gonna get a DAP, a digital audio player. This is the modern update to what MP3 players or iPods were back in the aughts, and the DAPs of today blow those things out of the water. First, most of them have expandable storage with SD cards, so the amount of music you can hold is immense. And then the DACs inside of them that convert the ones and zeros into an actual audio signal that you can hear are far superior, and your music is going to sound better than it ever did. Another big perk is that they have Bluetooth, so if you're still using wireless headphones like AirPods or Pixel Buds or whatever else, or you want to connect it to your car, you can do that. That said, they do also have 3.5mm headphone jacks, so if you have a nice pair of IEMs or a good pair of headphones, that's really the way to go so you can take advantage of that better audio converter. Of course, you're probably thinking, well, now that's another thing that I have to buy, and that's true, but you can get a decent DAP for well under $100. I have the Hi-Fi Walker H2, which I've made a video about in the past. I'll put a link here somewhere for it. And that one's a little bit over $100. I think it was $135 when I got it, but the Blue Sky Echo Mini can easily be found for like $60 most of the time. I'll throw affiliate links down in the description for both of those if you want to check them out. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps me out a little bit. So go pick up a DAC, have portable audio just like you would with your phone. When I first thought about rebuilding my music collection, it was pretty discouraging to think about all of the CDs that I used to have and everything that I got rid of, and all of the work it was going to take to catch up to where I had been. I mean, I kind of figured that it was a lost cause, that I'd just be stuck in the cycle of paying every month for a streaming service because there was no way I was going to get back to that point. But really, after a few trips to the used record shop and spending time browsing online, I came to see it as a hobby. It was something that I enjoyed. It wasn't something that was a chore. It wasn't something that I just had to check off of my list and move on from. It was something that I really liked spending time doing. I get excited about organizing my collection. I get excited when I have a new CD and I can bring it home and rip it to my computer. It's fun prowling Discogs and eBay in search of a good deal on that one elusive CD that I just can't find locally. Now, instead of doom scrolling while watching TV in the evenings, I'm going through my digital files and making sure they're all tagged appropriately, or making lists of new albums that I want to try to find. It's just a much more active and fulfilling way to be involved with music that I never could get from a streaming service. I think the thing that made rebuilding my music collection feel so overwhelming is to realize that I'm starting from scratch, and there's just so much music out there that I didn't even know where to start. I mean, should I work on rebuying all of the music that I used to have? Should I prioritize finding new things that I love now? Like, how do I know what I should be spending my money on when I walk into a CD or record shop? How do I know what I should be buying when I'm browsing Bandcamp? I kind of turned my gears with that for a little while and got pretty frustrated with it until I realized that subsets were probably the way to go. Instead of worrying about rebuilding this huge life's work collection of music, you focus on a smaller chunk, and it can really be anything. Like for me, one of the subsets that I'm working on is collecting all of the #1 albums that were released in important years of my life. So all of the #1 albums from the year I was born, the year I graduated high school, the year I got married, the year my kids were born. And over the last few months, I've been just kind of chipping away at those things. Those are the things that I go into the record shop looking for. Those are the things that I'm browsing online sites for. Maybe you want to collect a certain artist's discography, or maybe you want to put together a collection of the top albums of a certain genre. It can really be anything. Find some subset of music that you're passionate about or interested in or gets you excited, and just focus on that. It might only be 10 or 20 CDs, but now you have an idea of what you're looking for when you go shopping. That said, I'll still buy a random CD that's not on any of my lists if something catches my eye, but that's part of the fun, those little discoveries that make it exciting. But having these subsets will lessen the overwhelming feeling of having to rebuild your collection from scratch. One of the biggest perks of music streaming services is the ability to discover new music. And like I said in a previous video, I don't love algorithmic curation of playlists, but every once in a while they do hit on something that I enjoy. So if you're planning on ditching your music streaming services, you're gonna wanna have a way to discover new music, because collecting music isn't just about finding all of the things you already love. You have to find new things to be excited about too. I mean, we used to find music by listening to the radio or watching MTV or reading magazines like Rolling Stone or Spin, but most of those things are pretty obsolete now. But they do have some fantastic modern replacements. There are some excellent music blogs and YouTube music review channels, all doing great work to get the word out about new music. Your local record shop is probably a pretty good resource too. Go there, hang out, talk to people, learn about what other people are listening to. The big difference though is that music discovery isn't going to be passive anymore. It's not going to be a matter of throwing on a suggested playlist and seeing what comes up. It's an active process. It means getting involved in a music community and listening to different tastemakers and deciding which ones you connect with. You'll find that some complement your tastes perfectly and others just don't, but that's part of the fun. Although my end goal is to completely get rid of all streaming services, I admittedly do still have one as a backup. I subscribe to YouTube Premium, which comes with YouTube Music, and I do use it every once in a while. This isn't going to be a rip the band-aid off sort of thing. It's something that's going to take time to rebuild your music collection. And while you're putting in that work, you're still going to want to have access to music to listen to. So I'm not saying you should just get rid of all streaming services immediately. Personally, I'll still use it. If somebody has a band or an artist that they recommend I check out, I'll hop on and give them a listen and see what they're all about. I don't tend to use it for my daily music listening anymore, and I don't use it for music discovery, but that's just where I'm at right now. All that is to say, don't set the expectation that you have to get rid of your music streaming services immediately or all at once. It'll take time, and that's totally okay. As I said at the beginning, I have a bonus tip here, one that kind of ties it all together. My experience with music streaming services has significantly changed my relationship to music. It honestly kind of cheapened the experience for me. Music became a commodity for me. It was background noise to my life. I appreciated it so much less because it had such a cheap cost associated with it. I don't know if you've experienced anything similar to that, but if you have, the thing that has really helped me is setting aside time to sit and actively listen to music again. Not while I was mowing the lawn or doing the dishes or anything like that, but actually sitting down and doing nothing other than listening, not scrolling my phone, not playing a game, just sit and listen. And that act of actively listening and actively participating in the process of music has opened doors to just so much amazing stuff that I never would have given a chance to otherwise. My connections to music now are deeper and more significant because I take the time to do this. So if you stop and think about your relationship to music over the last couple of years and this sounds familiar, give it a try. Set aside an hour a couple of times a week to just sit and listen. Start with your favorite artists or albums, listen with a purpose, and expand from there. And I promise it'll be worth it. And if you want more exercises aimed at helping you reconnect with your passion for music, you can get my full guide by joining my Patreon, free or paid. Doesn't matter, the link is down in the description. But for now, I hope this helps you on your journey to ditching music streaming services. It's simple, but not easy. But in the end, I think it'll be worth it. But if you like this video, I would so appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up and shared it with a friend. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Head over to the Patreon. We're doing a ton of exciting artist discography deep dives over there. Join us on Twitch every Sunday at 8 p.m. for music request streams. And until then, I'm Kyle, and this is Hendy Creek.